Want to know what a real man would tell their lady about love and life? You're in the right place. This is Hello Ladies with Rom Wills. Rom Wills is a speaker and author of several books on relationships. Grab some wine, sit back, and enjoy.
Hello, ladies. Welcome to my spot. Wear clothing in the way you want to be treated. Now, I forgot the young lady's name who asked me about this. Shout yourself out in the comments. But, ladies, your clothing is very important. Your clothing is very important. You know, I remember, I don't see it as much now. But I remember I would see something here and there about some women, you know, they want to walk out in public with real short skirts on or tight clothes, but then get mad when a man says something to them or approaches them. And I'm just like, what did you expect to happen? Yes, you have the right to wear whatever you want in public as long as it's clothing and it's legal. I knew a woman, all she would wear was a halter top and some real short, teeny tiny shorts. And even when it was cold, she'd just put a heavy coat over it and still wear that. It's kind of weird. But anyway, right? You can wear whatever you want, but the reality is you're going to be treated by a man depending on how you wear your clothing. If a man see you in some real tight clothing or something that's really showing your body off, yeah, he's going to see you in a sexual way. He might approach. It could be dangerous for you depending on where you're walking. That's what we do. Because it's crazy women ask a man to show restraint. You know, I remember, I talked about this in my book, Nice Guys and Players. I was in downtown D.C. In fact, I know some people who borrowed this story. I'm in downtown D.C. at one of the many parks when I was still living and working there. And it was a particular park that was notorious for having bike messengers. Anybody's familiar with D.C., at least back then, I don't know what it is now. It might have changed, but at least back then, bike messengers used to deliver legal documents between law firms and different places. I've known several messengers. And you know, after the work day, they would gather at this one park, you know, just hang out, commiserate. Yeah, people do that. And I remember a woman. She was a very attractive woman. And I always remember, like, real voluptuous body. She had a yellow dress on that day. Light complexion black woman. And I remember she was walking through that park and had these dudes was yelling, and they were like, yeah. And I was feeling bad for her, but I saw where she walked. She was walking to her car. She could have there were 5 ways she could have avoided walking past these dudes. Now someone would say, well, she had a right to walk through without being bothered. Yeah, in terms of legal things, but it wasn't a common sense thing. It wasn't, I learned from a woman, my grandmother. She was like, you see something, don't be stupid when you're walking out here. She used to tell all my cousins that, don't be stupid out here. don't expect a dude to do the right thing. But she was treated according to that. Now, I guarantee if she was a Muslim woman with the type that wear robes and covered up, she could have walked through and they would have been, Assalamu alaikum, sister. Yeah, you okay, sister? All of that. I guarantee it. They would have treated her differently. I've seen that to happen because I've seen plenty of cases where women are dressed more modestly, and the same guys who will catcall one woman, they'll treat the other one. In fact, they probably be like, hey, let's make sure she get across the street okay. And it wouldn't be a sexual thing. But remember, see, clothes. Let me get a little deep with that. Clothing is either a magnet or a shield to draw sexual attention to us. A magnet is a magnet if it draws attention to us in a sexual way. When y'all wearing those tight clothes and, provocative clothing, shoot, they're going to be thinking sex. When you're wearing that clothing that works as a shield, maybe it doesn't show the figure as much, the dude's not going to think about sex. In fact, often often the guy will be thinking more about your intellectual capacity. And, I had mentioned Muslim sisters. I remember there was a little store I went to in D.C. and it was ran by black Muslims. And all the sisters, they had their robes on. They were real peaceful. And I always remember my feeling. Because, let's be real. I was a little horn dog back then. Ain't too far off from it now. But when I just felt totally at peace because I didn't think of them sexually because they didn't present themselves sexually. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, some women don't dress, dress a little, blocking out too much. But then they wonder why guys aren't checking for them. But it's important, certain instances you want to be taken more seriously on the job. And it does something. In fact, this is another story I've told on the men's channel. I might have told that story on this channel too. It's one of my favorite ones with how one dresses when I was, again, working in the government. And I always remember this young lady, and I had supervised her a couple of times. Very hard worker, but for lack of a better term, she dressed like a hoe. And I would hate, somebody say, well, why'd you characterize it like that? Because this young black woman used to have random white men walk up to her and offer her money for sex. Even though she worked at a government facility. But then she couldn't figure out why she couldn't move up in the company. But what happened? Her older sister got to her, said something. I know she started dressing modestly with looser clothing. And found out they found out what I already knew. She was a very good worker. And then people started treating her differently. Even some of the guys who, they were trying to pull in storage rooms and stuff, they started treating her differently, started respecting her more. Understand, clothing is very important. Now, ideal for a woman, you still want to wear clothing that you're respected in. You still want to do that, but you also still want to be seen as a woman and treated in a feminine manner. And that's very important. You can wear clothes that'll show off your shape, but you can still do it in a classy manner. In fact, a lot of guys like that. Because they still want to be stimulated by you. But they also, if you want them to look at you not just as a jump off, but rather as someone they could possibly take home, you still got to have that femininity. And it's possible to do that. I've seen plenty of women, they could do it. They just reach that balance, have the classy stuff. You can still, like, one of the sexiest women I ever known, like, she had an ex-girlfriend. It's incredible. And y'all know I like the butt dunk, right? Y'all know I like the butt dunk, but it was amazing how sensual and sexy she was. But when I remember, she never wore anything tight unless it was like some exercise tights. She never, and she's out in public, but guys used to go crazy. But because of how she wore it, they couldn't say she was dressed slutty or anything. But it was in a very feminine manner. But it was in such a way that you paid attention to her sexually, but you also paid attention to what she had on her mind. Yeah, I got watched talking about her. She's still an active attorney. So, yeah, you want to wear, you got to be cognizant. And don't, I know there's a bunch of women out there, they feel like, hey, I can do this or that. Well, if they choose to be stupid, you got to be smart out here. Don't think everybody's going to act right. And even if someone doesn't say anything to you, that's how they're going to perceive you. Now, if that's how you want to be perceived, boom. So remember, when you coming out, when you leaving the house, that's how they're going to look at you. Now, I hope some of the older sisters and older women on here understand that. I hope. But that's for the younger ones. Be cognizant of it. Don't expect us to be right. And also, I know some women, they might do something just to get the attention of certain men. Remember, everybody going to see you. Remember. And trust me, I've seen it. I've known some very intelligent women. They dress classy. Men treated them that way. They ain't get cat calls. Nothing but respect. So always think about that. Always think about it. You just want to kind of strike that balance that you're feminine but classy. I would say, if I had to make a general rule, that classy feminine look works. Because ultimately, most guys don't want to be players. I'm going to say it again. Most guys, they looking for a woman that they could build with, but that can represent them. And so that's what the good men, like I said, I'm telling y'all how to get the good men, the men trying to do something. Like, it ain't for all this foolishness, but they want to be with a woman that can represent them well. And that classy feminine look is the best look for that. So anyway, thank you for listening, ladies, and y'all have a good day. Peace and blessings.